Gentlemen, let me start with a truth that might surprise you. Every single year after the age of 60, your testosterone quietly fades away, leaving you weaker, more tired, and less sure of yourself. But what if the key to turning that decline around, to reigniting the fire you thought was gone, was not found in a pharmacy, but in something as simple as the box of baking soda already sitting in your kitchen? I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a urologist and men's health expert with over 30 years of experience, helping men just like you take back their strength, their energy, and their passion. I've seen what works, and I've dedicated my life to giving men over 60 real answers, natural, practical, and backed by science. Here's the puzzle most men never figure out. We often look for complicated answers in costly pills or risky treatments, while missing the simple, powerful solutions hiding in plain view. Baking soda, when mixed with one specific natural ingredient before bed, can create a condition inside your body where testosterone doesn't just hang on, it flourishes. Tonight I'm going to show you exactly how this combination works, why it supports stronger hormones, better blood flow, and more dependable performance, and most importantly, how you can begin using it right away. This isn't just an idea, it's a natural method you can put into action in less than 5 minutes. And stay with me until the end, because I'll share not only the ingredient you must combine with baking soda, but also the exact timing that turns this simple mix into a powerful evening habit for men over 60 who want to feel younger, stronger, and more alive again. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another doctor-approved tip to keep your testosterone, energy, and vitality strong after 60. And I'd love your thoughts. If this video speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0, and let me know how I can make these health lessons even more useful for you. Now that you see why this simple mixture deserves your attention, let's begin with the basics. To truly understand why baking soda can make such a difference, we must first understand testosterone itself, why it matters so much for men over 60, and what happens when it starts to drop. 1. Why testosterone matters after 60. When I sit across from men in their 60s and 70s, I often hear the same quiet confession, "Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore." Their voices are softer, their shoulders a little heavier, their eyes searching for some reassurance that what they're going through isn't the end of the road. And almost every time, the underlying culprit is the same: low testosterone. It is something most men never see coming, yet it touches nearly every corner of their lives. Testosterone is far more than just the hormone of sex drive, though that alone would make it important. It is the very signal that tells your body to stay strong, to keep your muscles firm, to protect your bones from becoming brittle, and to maintain a metabolism that fights back against the stubborn belly fat that creeps in with age. It is the spark that keeps your mind sharp, your mood steady, and your confidence intact. Without it, the fire of manhood dims, not in a sudden collapse, but in a slow, relentless fading that leaves men wondering where their strength and vigor went. After the age of 60, the decline becomes impossible to ignore. Research shows testosterone levels drop on average about 1% each year after middle age, but the reality is often harsher. For some men, the fall is steeper due to poor diet, lack of exercise, sleep problems, chronic stress, or long-term medications. The result is not just a number on a blood test. It is felt in the way you move, the way you recover, and the way you live. The mornings where you wake up tired, even after 8 hours of sleep. The afternoons where energy crashes leave you reaching for coffee or sugar. The evenings where intimacy feels more like pressure than pleasure. These are all signs of a system starved of the very hormone that once defined your vitality. And the changes are not only physical. Testosterone has a profound impact on the mind. Low levels often bring irritability, anxiety, or a lingering cloud of depression. Motivation suffers. A man who once pursued projects with drive and confidence may find himself putting things off, losing the spark that made him feel purposeful. I've seen marriages strained not because love is gone, but because energy, desire, and confidence have been quietly eroded by hormonal decline. Wives often sit beside their husbands in my office, nodding silently when I describe the symptoms, relieved to know it isn't a lack of affection, but a biological shift that can be addressed. What makes this so difficult is how gradual it is. Most men don't wake up one day with all their testosterone gone. Instead, it slips away in small increments. The belt notch gets a little tighter, workouts feel a little harder, erections lose a little firmness, passion dims just slightly. Year by year, piece by piece, manhood seems to fade into memory, and because it happens slowly, many men simply accept it as part of aging. They tell themselves, this is just how it is after 60. But that belief is not entirely true. Here is the encouraging truth I've seen in decades of practice. The decline is real, but it is not final. Testosterone levels can be influenced. Your body still has the ability to produce this vital hormone, even after 60. The key is creating the right environment, reducing the obstacles that suppress production, and giving your cells the raw materials they need to do their job. When men learn this, when they realize they still have some control, hope returns. They stand taller, not just because their hormones improve, but because they rediscover that they are not powerless against aging. This is where baking soda enters the picture in such a surprising way. On its own, it may look like nothing more than white powder for baking bread or cleaning a sink, but inside your body, it can help shift the balance in favor of testosterone, supporting the very systems that weaken with age. And when it's paired with a certain natural ingredient, the effect becomes even more powerful. So let's take a closer look at what makes baking soda so unique, why most men overlook it, and how it may become an unexpected ally in protecting your masculinity after 60. 2. The overlooked power of baking soda. When most men think of baking soda, they picture it in the kitchen or tucked away in the refrigerator to absorb odors. It's a household item so ordinary that it almost feels laughable to imagine it playing any role in men's health. And yet, over the years, I've been surprised by just how often the simplest, most overlooked remedies can carry hidden power. Baking soda is one of those quiet allies. I remember one patient, a man in his late 60s, who came to me feeling frustrated. He had tried expensive supplements, read every advertisement for testosterone boosters, even flirted with risky hormone injections, but nothing seemed to give him the steady energy and confidence he craved. He almost chuckled when I asked him if he had ever considered baking soda. "You mean the stuff I brush my teeth with sometimes?" he said. But after a few weeks of consistent use in the right way, his face told me everything. His energy picked up, his muscles didn't ache as much, and he felt more in tune with his body than he had in years. That's when it really struck me again. Sometimes the answers are right in front of us, but we never think to look. What makes baking soda so powerful is its ability to change the internal environment of your body. As we grow older, our blood and tissues tend to become more acidic, a byproduct of processed foods, alcohol, stress, and even natural aging. That acidity may not always be obvious, but it puts a strain on your cells and interferes with the delicate processes needed for hormone production. Testosterone, in particular, suffers in an overly acidic environment. Baking soda works as an alkalizing agent by neutralizing excess acidity. It helps restore balance, creating conditions where your cells, including the testosterone-producing Leydig cells in your testes, can perform at their best. But that is only part of the story. Another overlooked benefit of baking soda is its effect on circulation and oxygen delivery. Blood flow is the lifeline of vitality. Without healthy circulation, muscles feel heavy, energy feels drained, and erections lose their strength. Studies in athletes have shown that baking soda reduces lactic acid buildup, allowing for better endurance and recovery. While most of us are not sprinting on a track in our 60s, the principle still applies. Better circulation means better oxygen supply to your organs, including your heart and reproductive system, and better oxygen supply means more support for testosterone and sexual performance. There's also a subtle yet important effect on fatigue. Many men over 60 tell me that tiredness is their constant companion. They feel as if their bodies betray them, even when their minds still feel sharp. Baking soda has been shown to reduce the burnout that comes from lactic acid accumulation, giving your muscles a chance to recover more quickly, and your body the chance to stay active without the same level of exhaustion. It may not sound glamorous, but when you're able to take a walk without feeling drained, or do light exercise without aching for days, the improvement in quality of life is profound. Now, I don't want to give the impression that baking soda alone is some miracle cure. It is not. Taken by itself, it offers some benefits, but the real transformation happens when it's paired with the right natural partner. That is when its potential truly comes to life, helping not just to balance your internal environment, but to spark the very processes that allow testosterone to rise. And in just a moment, I'll reveal which ingredient, when combined with baking soda, turns this simple household powder into a powerful tonic for men over 60 who want their vitality back. 3. The synergy: baking soda plus lemon juice. When I first began to explore natural ways to support men's health, I was struck by how often ancient traditions quietly aligned with modern science. Lemon water, for example, has been used for centuries as a cleansing morning drink, praised for its refreshing quality and its ability to bring balance to the body. Baking soda, though less glamorous, has long been valued for its soothing effects on digestion and its ability to reduce acidity. But what fascinated me most was what happens when these two simple ingredients meet each other. Separately, they each provide benefits. Together, they form a partnership that can change the way your body functions at a very deep level. The moment lemon juice meets baking soda, a reaction takes place. The sharp acidity of lemon collides with the alkalinity of baking soda, and you see a gentle fizz, a release of carbon dioxide. To most people, it looks like nothing more than kitchen chemistry, but within your body, that reaction becomes something far more important. It softens the harshness of both ingredients, making them easier to digest, easier to absorb, and more effective in reaching the places where they are needed most. I've had men tell me that the first time they tried it, they were surprised at how light and smooth it felt, as if their system welcomed the combination. That's because this pairing isn't just pleasant, it's functional. Lemon juice brings with it a powerful gift: vitamin C. For men over 60, vitamin C is not simply about fighting colds, it is a direct shield for your testosterone-producing cells. Those Leydig cells deep inside the testes are under constant assault from oxidative stress. Free radicals, those unstable molecules that damage our tissues, grow more aggressive with age. Vitamin C stands in their way, protecting those cells and allowing them to keep doing their job, making testosterone. In addition, lemon juice supports nitric oxide production, the very molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open. This is critical, because without open, flexible vessels, blood cannot flow easily to where it matters most. And as every man knows, healthy circulation is the backbone of firm, dependable erections. Baking soda steps in to complement these effects. As it balances acidity, it gives your body an internal environment where hormones can be built without interference. Together with lemon, it helps stabilize blood sugar levels, preventing the spikes and crashes that throw hormones off balance. Have seen men who struggled with cravings or afternoon energy crashes find surprising steadiness once they made this mixture part of their nightly routine. That steadiness is not just about feeling better during the day, It's about giving your body the calm and balance it needs to focus on producing hormones while you sleep. There's also something deeply satisfying about knowing you don't need to rely on complicated regimens or expensive products to care for your health. Many men tell me they feel a sense of empowerment, even pride, when they adopt simple habits that truly work. Mixing baking soda with lemon juice before bed becomes more than a recipe. It becomes a ritual. It's a reminder that even in your 60s or 70s, you can still take action, you can still support your vitality, and you can still influence the course of your health. I want you to picture what happens over time. As the weeks go by, inflammation begins to calm, blood vessels stay open and flexible, testosterone production gets the breathing room it needs, and the fatigue that once weighed you down begins to lift. Energy feels smoother, intimacy feels more natural, and a sense of confidence slowly returns. This is what I have witnessed in my patients, and it never stops inspiring me. Now that you understand the power of this simple combination, the next question becomes just as important. How exactly should you prepare it, and when should you take it to give your body the greatest benefit? Timing, as you'll soon see, is the key that unlocks its full potential.
4. The evening ritual: how and when to take it. I've always believed that small, consistent rituals carry more power than any miracle pill ever could. Over the years, sitting across from men in their 60s and 70s, I've seen how introducing just one simple habit at the right time of day can change everything. That is why I call this mixture of baking soda and lemon juice the evening ritual. It is not a gimmick or a trick. It is a way of aligning your body's natural rhythm with the very nutrients and support it craves most. Here's the truth: many men don't realize your body produces the majority of its testosterone while you sleep. In the quiet hours of the night, while the world slows down, your body is busy repairing tissues, building strength, balancing hormones, and preparing you for the day ahead. It is a sacred time, a time when your cells are most active in restoring what age slowly tries to take away. That is why timing matters so much. Drinking this mixture in the evening before bed means you are fueling the system precisely at the moment it is ready to do the work. The recipe itself is simple enough that any man can prepare it in minutes. Start with half a teaspoon of baking soda. Add the juice of half a fresh lemon, about a teaspoon, into a small glass of water, just 4 to 6 ounces. Stir it gently, let it fizz, and then drink it slowly. Do this about 30 to 45 minutes before bed, and you will give your body the signal it needs. The baking soda will work to neutralize acidity and prepare the ground, while the lemon will bring antioxidants, vitamin C, and the nitric oxide boost your blood vessels need to stay open and flexible. Together, they create the perfect conditions for testosterone to rise naturally as you drift into sleep. I remember one patient who was skeptical. He told me, "Doc, I've tried everything. What makes you think this simple glass of water is going to do anything?" But he trusted me enough to try. 2 weeks later, he came back with a smile I hadn't seen before. He said his mornings felt different. He woke up less stiff, less sluggish, and with more natural drive. His wife even commented that he seemed more present, more engaged. That's when he realized it wasn't just about the mixture itself. It was about giving his body what it needed at the right moment every single night. There's a sense of dignity in this ritual, too. Instead of chasing after the latest fad or relying on costly treatments, you're reclaiming control with something safe, natural, and already within your reach. It becomes not just a step in your evening routine, but a statement that you refuse to let age dictate the terms of your vitality. I've seen men sit taller, speak with more confidence, and carry themselves differently after just a few weeks of consistency. The beauty of this practice is that it grows with you. The longer you commit to it, the more benefits you begin to notice. Energy during the day feels steadier. Recovery after light exercise is faster. Intimacy feels less like a struggle and more like it once was. Natural, confident, even joyful. That's what happens when you work with your body instead of against it. But I want you to understand this is only part of the picture. The ritual itself sets the stage, but what truly convinces men to keep going are the changes they begin to feel. And that leads us into the next critical piece of the puzzle. What happens when you stay consistent? When you give your body 30 days of this nightly support, the results may surprise you. And I'll share exactly what men have experienced next. 5. What men experience after consistency. One of the most common questions I hear from men when I first share this evening ritual is, "Doc, how long before I actually feel anything?" It's an honest question because by the time many men reach their 60s, they've already tried countless pills, powders, and promises that never delivered. I always tell them the same thing. This is not about instant miracles, but about steady, natural change. And when you give your body 30 days of consistency, the changes often arrive quietly at first, then more boldly, until you realize that something inside you has begun to shift. The earliest thing men notice is often energy, not the jittery spike you get from coffee or sugar, but a calmer, more dependable energy that lasts throughout the day. One man in his 70s described it as a steady flame instead of a flicker. He said he no longer needed an afternoon nap to get through the day, and when he walked his dog in the evenings, he didn't feel drained. That steadiness is the first sign that your hormones are finding balance again, that your system is working with you instead of against you. Another change many men report is in their mornings. For years, they had woken up stiff, sluggish, and without drive. But after a few weeks of this nightly practice, their mornings began to feel different. They woke up with a sense of alertness, and in many cases, with the return of something they hadn't experienced in years. Morning firmness. That natural sign of male vitality is often one of the strongest indicators that testosterone is rising and blood flow is improving. When it returns, it brings with it not just physical readiness, but a deep sense of reassurance that manhood is not lost. As the weeks go on, intimacy begins to change. Many men tell me they no longer have to fight so hard to feel desire. It comes more naturally, and with it, confidence returns. Wives and partners often notice before the men themselves do. They comment that their husbands seemed more present, more affectionate, more alive. It's not just the body that improves. The relationship grows warmer because the burden of performance anxiety begins to lift. I've watched couples rediscover closeness they thought had faded away forever. Physical changes appear as well. Belly fat, that stubborn band around the waist that seems to mock men as they age, starts to shrink when testosterone production improves. Muscles respond more readily to light exercise. Even if you're only walking or doing simple stretches, the recovery is faster, the soreness is less, and the results feel more visible. One man joked with me that he looked in the mirror and thought, "Hey, I know that guy," because his chest and arms began to feel firm again instead of soft. These are small victories, but when stacked together, they remind a man that he still has control over his body. Perhaps the most moving transformation is the return of confidence. When men feel their strength coming back, when energy steadies, when intimacy becomes enjoyable again, they stand taller. They speak with more conviction. They carry themselves with pride. It's as if life feels less like a slow decline and more like an open horizon again. I've seen men take up old hobbies, travel with their spouses, or simply smile more because they feel capable once again. That confidence spills into every part of life: work, family, friendships, and the quiet moments alone when a man looks in the mirror and finally likes what he sees. But I don't want you to just imagine these changes. I want you to understand how you can make them stronger, faster, and longer lasting. Because while the baking soda and lemon ritual is powerful on its own, the results multiply when paired with certain daily habits that support hormone health and circulation. And that is exactly what we'll explore next, so you can take this foundation and build upon it for even greater vitality. 6. Supportive habits that multiply the effect. Over the years, I've seen men discover the power of simple rituals like the baking soda and lemon mixture. And I've also seen how much further those results can go when supported by a few key habits. Think of the mixture as planting a seed. It has the potential to grow into something strong, but without water, sunlight, and care, that seed will never reach its full strength. In the same way, your body needs certain nutrients and lifestyle choices to amplify the effect of this evening ritual. When you combine them, the benefits multiply, and the results feel deeper, faster, and longer lasting. One of the most overlooked nutrients for men over 60 is zinc. I often tell my patients that zinc is like the ignition key for testosterone. Without it, the engine doesn't even start. Your body simply cannot produce testosterone properly if you're deficient, and unfortunately, many older men are. Zinc also plays a vital role in keeping the prostate healthy, which is especially important as we age. Foods like pumpkin seeds, oysters, beans, and lean cuts of beef are some of the richest sources, and when men make a conscious effort to include them in their weekly diet, their hormone response is noticeably stronger. I've had men come back and tell me that simply adding a handful of pumpkin seeds to their evening snack made them feel steadier and more energetic in just a few weeks. Magnesium is another mineral I urge men not to ignore. If zinc is the ignition, magnesium is the calm that keeps the ride smooth. Stress is one of the greatest enemies of testosterone, and as men get older, their stress hormones tend to climb. Cortisol and testosterone cannot thrive together. When one goes up, the other goes down. Magnesium helps bring cortisol under control. It tells your body, relax. It's safe to function normally. Foods like spinach, almonds, and even a small square of dark chocolate can give you the magnesium your body craves. I've seen men who struggled with restless sleep finally rest more soundly after adding magnesium-rich foods to their daily meals. And when sleep improves, testosterone follows. Hydration may sound too simple to matter, but it's often the missing piece. Your blood is over 90% water, and circulation is the lifeblood of energy, erections, and hormone delivery. When your blood is thick from dehydration, your body has to work harder to move oxygen and nutrients where they are needed. Add alcohol into the picture, and the problem becomes even worse. By staying hydrated and keeping alcohol moderate, you give your body a fluid balance that makes everything work more efficiently. From your heart pumping blood to your testes producing testosterone, sleep itself deserves special attention. I've lost count of the number of men who admitted they were only sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night, yet expected their bodies to produce the hormones of The reality is simple. No sleep, no testosterone. The majority of your hormone production takes place while you sleep deeply. That is why the baking soda and lemon ritual works best at night. It sets the stage for your body to maximize that overnight production. Pairing it with 7 or 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep is like doubling down on your investment. The return is undeniable. And finally, movement. I don't mean grueling workouts or marathon runs. I mean gentle, consistent movement that keeps your muscles active and your blood flowing. A brisk walk after dinner, a few minutes of stretching, light resistance training with bands or dumbbells. All of these send signals to your body that testosterone is needed, that strength is still valued, and that vitality is still essential. I've watched men transform their energy levels by combining the ritual with as little as 20 minutes of daily activity. When you bring these habits together, zinc-rich foods, magnesium support, hydration, quality sleep, and daily movement, you create the perfect environment for the baking soda and lemon mixture to do its work. It's like opening every door and window in your house to let fresh air pour in. Your body thrives, and the results feel undeniable. But perhaps the most powerful transformation isn't just physical. When men commit to these habits and see the changes unfolding, something deeper begins to shift. Their confidence grows, their outlook brightens, and they realize that aging does not mean surrender. And that leads us to the most important truth of all, the emotional journey of reclaiming manhood after 60. A journey that can change not only your body, but your entire life. 7. Emotional call to action. Reclaiming manhood after 60. Over the course of my career, I've had countless conversations with men in their 60s and 70s who lean forward in my office, lower their voices, and admit something they rarely tell anyone else. They're afraid they've lost themselves. They remember the days when energy came naturally, when passion burned without effort, when strength and drive were simply part of who they were. Now, they look in the mirror and wonder if that man is gone forever. I always tell them the same thing. Your body may have changed, but your manhood is not gone. It is still there, waiting for you to reclaim it. The truth is, aging is not just about numbers. It's about how you choose to face those years. Yes, testosterone declines. Yes, energy fades if left unchecked. But you are not powerless in this process. I've seen men who had nearly given up rediscover themselves by making small, consistent choices that built momentum over time. The baking soda and lemon ritual, paired with the supportive habits we've discussed, is one of those choices. It is not just about mixing 2 ingredients in a glass. It's about making a statement every night before bed. I refuse to let age define me. I think often of a man in his late 60s who came to see me, shoulders slumped, voice low, convinced that his best years were behind him. He was skeptical when I suggested something as simple as baking soda and lemon, but he decided he had nothing to lose. A month later, he walked back into my office, standing taller, his handshake stronger, his eyes brighter. He told me he didn't feel like a young man again, but he felt like himself again, and that was all he had wanted. That is the power of reclaiming manhood. not pretending to be 20, but embracing the best version of who you are now. There's a deep emotional freedom that comes when you realize you still have influence over your vitality. You no longer see each birthday as a step closer to decline, but as another opportunity to prove that strength and confidence can grow at any age. Your relationships benefit because you bring energy and presence into every moment. Your outlook changes because you begin to wake up with purpose instead of resignation. And perhaps most importantly, you regain pride in yourself. Not just in what you can do, but in the decision you've made to keep living fully. This call to action is not about fear or urgency. It's about hope. It's about reminding you that even after 60, there is a path forward that feels alive, masculine, and strong. You don't need expensive treatments or risky shortcuts. You need consistency, belief, and the courage to take small steps every day. The ritual you've learned here is one of those steps. Combined with sleep, nutrition, hydration, and movement, it can reshape not only your body, but the way you see yourself. I want you to imagine how life could feel in 30 days if you began tonight. More energy flowing through your mornings, more confidence when you look at your partner, more ease in your movements, more clarity in your thoughts, and a renewed sense of pride every time you realize that age has not defeated you. That future is not out of reach. It is waiting for you to claim it. And as powerful as that vision is, I want to take you one step further, because now that you understand the importance of reclaiming your manhood after 6, I'm going to show you how to bring everything together in a simple but life-changing conclusion. A roadmap for keeping your vitality strong and ensuring that the years ahead are not just longer, but richer and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Gentlemen, we have gone on a journey together. One that started with a simple box of baking soda and showed us the deeper truth about what it means to be a man after 60. You've seen why testosterone is so important at this stage of life, how its slow drop can change not just your body but your energy, your feelings, and your self-belief. You've learned that something as common as baking soda, often ignored, can help balance your body, and that when mixed with lemon juice, it becomes more than a drink. It becomes a nightly habit that helps hormone creation, blood flow, and energy while you rest. We've discussed the importance of timing, how having this mixture in the evening matches your body's natural cycle. We've seen the results that come from sticking with it. Better mornings, more stable energy, stronger erections, and a confidence that shines through in every part of your life. We've looked at supportive habits, zinc, magnesium, drinking water, sleep, and daily activity that boost the effect and help your body flourish. And we've talked about the emotional truth that taking back your manhood is not about trying to be young again, but about walking bravely into this time of your life with power and respect. I've watched men change from these steps, and I've seen the way their faces glow when they understand they are not helpless, that their vitality is still theirs to command. And now I ask you to take what you've learned and make it yours. For the next 30 days, promise yourself to this ritual. Welcome these habits and allow yourself to trust that change is possible.